What's up, vinyl community? It's your boy Chris coming at you live as always from the man cave. Christmas Eve, actually Christmas morning as I shoot this video. Just got through putting together some things for my daughter. For those of you who still believe in Santa Claus, spoiler alert. Yeah, that's what my daughter. Here, let me see what I'm doing. I hope that's catching it. That's what she's walking into tomorrow morning. Of course, Santa gets the full credit for now until years later it comes back full circle and your boy gets the credit. But until then, I'm okay with letting Chris Kringle get all the credit. But I haven't talked to you guys in about a month. Did the RSD Black Friday video with my boy Josh. Had a great time that day. It was awesome. It's a celebratory event. All things considered, had a great day digging vinyl. Had a great day celebrating myself starting a new job. And so since then, started a new job. Unfortunately, did not mean more free time. It meant less free time, which is why you guys haven't seen me in a month. But it did mean more money. It did mean better financial security for my family. So I've had even less time to listen to vinyl, even less time to talk to you guys about vinyl. But and before it wasn't much, but still, family first. But tonight, Christmas Eve, had to get together with my grandmother's family earlier today. Had to get together with my wife's side of the family. Shortly after that, had to get together with my family, and my family likes to get it in. Starting at 6, we got there at like 7:30, so the party was just jumping off when we left. And I told my wife, going to go to bed. I got this. I'll put all the stuff together. I took care of it. She's sleeping. My daughter's sleeping. And so I figured, you know what? Let me talk to you guys for a minute. So hope you guys are all having a Merry Christmas. Maybe some of you are up putting together Christmas stuff like I am. Maybe some of you are just chilling out, enjoying your free time. I hope so. I hope there are a few of you who are doing that. To all of you, everybody in the vinyl community, cheers. Over a year in now. I never did acknowledge that. I never did realize that, but I'm over a year now into the vinyl community. So to all of you guys, cheers. I love you all. You're great. So for this video, finds since slightly before Black Friday RSD and since. A few of these are going to be before, a few since, but I haven't had a video since Black Friday RSD. So here we go. Let me just jump in. Let me try to see. There's a bunch of these guys. Some of them I might have talked about before, and if I have, I apologize. Born to be Blue, Grant Green, Tone Poet, Stereo Press, excellent release, wonderful stuff, great. Ike Quebec, Sonny Clark, Sam Jones, Louis Haynes. Now that I think about it, I think I talked about it in my RSD post. Could be wrong. If I am, oh well. Sue me, it's Christmas, it doesn't matter. Next up, Think, with an exclamation point. Lonnie Smith, Lee Morgan, and David Newman. This is a DMM pressing, so from the 80s. Great stuff. Lee Morgan on the trumpet, David Newman on the tenor sax and flute, Melvin Sparks on guitar, Lonnie Smith on organ, Marion Booker Jr. on the drums, Henry Brown on the timbales, Willie Bivens on the conga, and Alberto Alanes on the conga, and yeah, all kinds of stuff going on there. But a very funky, very soulful jazz album. I love it. I love Lonnie Smith. Not to be confused with Lonnie Liston Smith, because I know plenty of people who do that. Next up, I mean, this is no particular order, guys. This is an album. I'm in the shop with Dylan. I'm running the shop for the day. He pops in, as he often does, even when I run the shop. Even when I give him the day off, he still pops in, because I don't know, something about this beard he just can't resist. He pops in. He was like, hey, there's like 7 or 8 copies of this guy over here. This artist, he just died. I'm giving them away for free. If you want one, take one. I'm like, oh well. I don't know this guy from Adam. A couple of people came in the shop, took the album. I don't know. The name of the artist is James Harlow. It's on blue vinyl, which is neat. It's what appears to be. I've only listened to 2 tracks on the album, but it appears to be all instrumental music. But it ain't jazz. It ain't. I don't know what it is. It ain't jazz. It's all instrumental, but it ain't jazz. I don't know. I've only heard 2 tracks on the album. But anyway, James Harlow. I realize I'm not getting off to a hot and jumping start for you guys. I apologize. Next up, John Lennon Imagine with the poster. That's awesome on Capitol. So I've had about 10 copies of this album in my life. Just call it what it is. Had an original UK, had an original stereo, had a Japanese pressing, had a MoFi, had another original US pressing. I was sold off a couple. Got down to the point where I had absolutely no copies of this album and was like, okay, well, I want a good copy of this album, so I got one. And it's on Capitol. Obviously, splat out. Love the album. It's definitely one of the rock albums I want to keep in my collection, no doubt about that. And it's got the poster, so that's cool for me. I'd like to reacquire a MoFi copy or a Japanese copy. Next up, Norman Connor's Slewfoot. Funk, soul, jazz type album, type deal. It's got shrink wrap. What am I going to do with that shrink wrap? Oh my God, that's this Christmas. What am I going to do for you guys? Oh, it's Christmas. I'm hanging out the room. Oh no, get going. Get gone. Get fast in a hurry. Get gone. Get gone. Get gone. Deuces. Now it looks like a record. Awesome stuff. Yeah, very funky, very soulful, very jazzy. And never heard it before. Blind Buy. My buddy Marcus, DJ Party on Instagram, recommended it to me, so I jumped on because he usually knows exactly what it is I like. So it was a cheap buy, highly recommended by my boy. So I went ahead and got on. Next up, the John Lewis piano on Atlantic, and as you guys can see, more shrink wrap. Oh no, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Oh no. You know, this shrink wrap is tough. But, oh, God. Hurts so good. Come on, baby, make it hurt so good. Now it looks like a record. So, good stuff. The Atlantic covers, man. Gotta tell you. So sturdy. Especially if they're taken care of, as this one clearly was. Good album. Good, nice, mellow listen. I dig it. I'm trying to run through these quick, guys. I'm sorry. Next up, I'm definitely going to stop and talk about a few of the, the big ones, obviously. Leon Spencer, Louisiana Slim. Beautiful woman on the cover, obviously. Funk, soul, jazz, on Prestige. Leon Spencer Jr. on organ. Grover Washington Jr. on tenor sax and flute. Virgil Jones on the trumpet. Melvin Sparks on the guitar. Idris Muhammad on the drums. Buddy Caldwell on the conga. It's a great album. I dig it, obviously. Highly recommended to any of you guys who dig soul, funk, jazz. Which, that's going to be most of you. Next up, Lonnie Liston Smith and the Cosmic Echoes Renaissance. Guys, I can't recommend an album like this enough. Gatefold. Lonnie Liston Smith is awesome. So is Lonnie Smith. Not to be confused with one another. But very soulful, very funky, very jazzy. RCA, great stuff. And found for cheap. If you're a rock fan, you'll dig it. If you're a soul fan, you'll dig it. If you're a jazz fan, you'll dig it. If you're all of the above fan, you'll really dig it. So a guy like me really digs it. It's a great album. I really dig it. And 12 to 15 bucks. I mean, it's not expensive. So definitely get it. Next up. So on Sunday, I'm running the shop at Noble Records, as you guys know that I do. which probably makes me feel guilty because I'm wearing a Lunchbox t-shirt right now. Sorry, Dylan, don't fire me. Don't fire me. Don't fire me. Just kidding, he'll be cool. Next up, introducing Eric Kloss with Don Patterson. So I'm running shop, and every time I'm running shop, this past Sunday I even took in a stack of records to listen to that day. Dylan and I had shot a video early that morning. That's going to be the last time a lot of you guys have seen me. And I thought that's all I was going to listen to for the entire day. But when I'm there, if it dies down, I start wandering. I start looking for new stuff. I start looking for stuff I've never seen, never heard of. Sometimes I find something, sometimes I don't. In this particular instance, I go through the jazz section. I find introducing Eric Kloss with Don Patterson. As I just showed you guys, this is an original mono pressing on Prestige. Okay, now, immediately what draws me in is Don Patterson. I'm not going to lie to you. As well as Prestige. Because my stance is usually if it's on Prestige, it's good. And if Don Patterson will play with you, you must be good. But I take one look at that gentleman there, and I think, okay, all right, well, a couple things. Number one, he's white. I hate to be that way, guys, but for the most part, most, please don't come at me with this. Most white jazz musicians are not great. Most. There are plenty of exceptions, but most. So that's most. All right. So there's one. And then two is like, he looks like he's in high school. So I did a little research, picked it up, and turns out this guy recorded this album when he was 16 years old on the alto and tenor sax. 16. So Don Patterson, organist, legend, thought enough of 16-year-old white boy Eric Kloss to record an album with him. So immediately I'm intrigued. So I throw it on and it blows me away. It is great. It is a really, really, really good album. Eric Kloss has got some great solos on the album. One of the great solos, he stretches out. I walk up to a customer in the store. I said, hey, would you believe that's a 16-year-old white boy playing that solo? And he looks at me. He goes, 16? I said, he's 16? I said, listen to that. I said, he's killing it. And we both agreed. And we both took in the rest of the album. Had a great conversation. It was great. But if you guys see it, jump on it. Seriously. I mean, it really caught me by surprise, I gotta tell you. So now I'm gonna look up. What I've been told is his first 3 albums are where it's at. That's what I've been told. I had never heard of the guy till the other day. Until Sunday, I'd never heard of him. Things you figure out working in a record store. Alright, next up. Alright, so I'm always on the fence about Sun Ra. Man, on one hand, I like buying Sun Ra albums because they're awesome. The covers are awesome. I believe him to be awesome. I believe him to be a genius, but I also am just not in the mood for his style of music very often. I'm just going to be real. I'm just not in the mood for it very often. But I got a chance to have a white label promo copy of his album, The Nubians of Plutonium. You see the for promotion only label down there on the corner. Awesome cover, obviously. Gatefold, because it's Impulse. Not as sturdy as back in the day, but flat out white label promo. Too bad it's not the orange and black turned white label promo, but still it's a white label promo, and so I couldn't pass on it. If I throw it on and decide that I really just can't bear to have it in my collection, I'll never listen to it, then I know where I can take it. But 1974 release, Sun Ra, definitely an interesting individual. Usually my stance is, if I ain't gonna listen to it, I pass it on, but we'll see. Next up, Brass Shout, original mono pressing on United Artists, stereo. I don't know if I said, United Artists, original stereo pressing, Brass Shout, Art Farmer, 7 moods in brass arranged by Benny Golson. ass of musicians on this, guys, with Lee Morgan, Ernie Royal, Jimmy Cleveland, Curtis Fuller, Julius Watkins, Don Butterfield, Percy Heath, Philly Joe Jones, Bobby Timmons, and others. So a bunch of great guys. I gotta be honest with you, I wish it was on Blue Note. I throw it on and it's clean. And by that meaning there's no skips, there's no pops, clicks, no anything like that. But I had to really turn it up to really get what was going on. First of all, I mean, it's a 10-piece ensemble. Usually those are not my lane, but there are so many talented musicians I couldn't help myself. But I turned it up, turned it up, turned it up, turned it up, and it's just still not hitting what my average. If this had been on Blue Note, yeah, but the music's great. It really is. But this pressing, and again, this is an original stereo, but this pressing is just, to me, it's lacking. I don't know how often I'll return to it. It's cool to have the original stereo in my collection. I'll go back to it, I'm sure, at some point. But damn, I can't help but wish that Blue Note or Prestige or Impulse had gotten their hands on this rather than United Artists. But anyway, great album, a bunch of great artists on the album, but Sam comes up lacking for me. The next up, I can't wait to talk about this one. I talked about this one in my last video. The last time some of you guys have seen me was on the couch video with Dylan at Noble Records, and I brought this one up specifically. The Buck Clark Sound, because I've never talked about this one on a video. It's original mono pressing. Arrangements by Charles Hampton. It is great. It is as good a jazz percussion album as I've ever heard in my entire life. It rivals anything Art Blakey ever did, and I mean it. And Art Blakey, in my opinion, is the greatest, not just the greatest jazz drummer of all time, but the greatest drummer of all time. I love him. He's my favorite. This rivals anything he ever done, in my opinion. I'm not kidding. I'm not joking. Seriously. Great, 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 great jazz production. So good. Personnel: Buck Clark on bongos and conga, Charles Hampton on flute, alto and piano, Jimmy Crawford on piano, side 1, tracks 2 and 3, side 2, track 3, Lenny Kuye on the vibes and marimba, Dwayne Austin on bass, and Billy Hart on drums. And Buck Clark, guys, hardly ever recorded anything after this. He resorted to being a sideman, a studio musician, so he had a few recordings, had a few releases, but I'm not sure. I think this was his final album under his name. I could be wrong. I have to look that up, but man, guys, get it into your life. You can find a good copy, a good, solid, original pressing copy of this one for $50. Just be patient. They are there to be found. So, but man, I can't recommend it enough. It's so good. Next up, go Dexter Gordon. I'd love to tell you guys it's original mono pressing or even original stereo pressing, but I don't want to lie to you. Y'all know what that is, that blue label with the black B. It's great. It's awesome just to have the music I've been holding out for an original for years, and finally just got a great opportunity to have a copy of the album for cheap, and couldn't pass. Damn you, Chris Has Suspense. If you ever see this, my boy Chris Has Suspense grabbed an original mono pressing of this one from a college professor for like $2, just from like digging in his basement or some shit. But yeah, damn you, because I think I paid like 20 or 25 for this, and it's a like 70s reissue. You suck, Chris Has Suspense. I'd say you suck, but I love you. So, congratulations, and you suck. Congratulations, my friend. Cheers. Wonderful find. Wonderful find. I just wish it had been me. Enjoy that beautiful, gorgeous, wonderful album. And if anybody wants to know, obviously Sonny Clark, Butch Warren, Billy Higgins, and Dexter Gordon on the album is immortal. It's a Blue Note grail. Next up, tough tenor favorites, the Johnny Griffin and Lockjaw Davis Quintet on Jazzland. Cool cover. Jazzland, orange label. I love both Johnny Griffin and Lockjaw. So, Johnny Griffin and Eddie Davis on tenor, Horace Parlin on piano, Buddy Catlett on bass, Ben Riley on drums. Guys, this album is killer. I love it. Highly recommended. Great stuff on Jazzland and not that expensive. So, if you get a chance to get it, you got to get it into your life, brother. Next up, new original score from the off-Broadway hip success, The Connection, composed by Cecil Payne and Kenny Drew, conducted by Cecil Payne, companion piece to an album that Jackie McLean was on for Blue Note. Same soundtrack, same movie. Except for this one is on Charlie Parker Records as opposed to Blue Note. But it's great stuff. This one's cheaper than the one that Jackie Mack's on. But Ron Carter's on the bass on this one, Duke Jordan on piano, Charlie Persip on drums, Clark Terry on trumpet. Yeah. Great stuff. Absolutely, no doubt about it. So next up, Pharoah Sanders Carmel on Impulse stereo. It's like a second or third pressing. Let's take a look. I think it's like a third. Yeah, I think it's a third pressing. Stereo, great stuff. You guys know plenty about it, no doubt. Gatefold. Great stuff. Pharoah Sanders on the tenor, Leon Thomas on vocal and percussion, Lonnie L. Smith Jr. on piano, Frederick Wheats on drums, Reggie Workman on bass, Ron Carter on bass, Julius Watkins, French horn, music by Pharoah Sanders, lyrics by Moses Leontopoulos Thomas. I hope I didn't butcher that last one. I'm sure I did. It's late. I've been drinking, playing Santa, and I'm Southern. So, it would seem to add up that I probably butchered that last name. Next up, the Lee Morgan Quintet featuring Art Blakey, Paul Chambers, Art Davis, Eddie Higgins, Cliff Jordan, Wynton Kelly. This is on VJ. Great stuff. Anything Lee Morgan, you've automatically got me sold. This is a comp, of course, no doubt about it. But it's still great. Highly recommended to anybody who, I don't know, digs any good jazz, especially any good trumpet. Because it's freaking Lee Morgan, so. Next up, RSD release, grabbed for me by my boy, John Galdieri. John, you my man. From New Jersey. You guys have heard me mention him before if you follow my channel long enough. Johnny Griffin, Eddie Lockjaw Davis live at the Penthouse. Ow. Horace Parlin, Buddy Catlett, and Art Taylor also on the album. It's 2 LPs. It's great stuff. Real. I'll show you one of the LPs, one of the labels. Bam. Good stuff. Haven't heard it yet. Will not lie. I have not had time. I'll get the time. I guess, one of these days, I just haven't had it. A little bit of spare time from playing Santa in here, and I take the time to talk to you guys. So I did not. Here's an RSD release that I did not grab on RSD. It's Direct Step, Herbie Hancock, released only in Japan. Got the OBI, the whole 9. Good stuff. It was released in the late 70s, if I'm not mistaken. I've never heard this album. I have no idea what I'm in for, but seeing as how it's Herbie in the late 70s, I'm assuming it's funky. There may be some vocals, probably. I wouldn't rule it out. But, yeah. Didn't grab it on RSD. Thought about it, but knew I was getting ready to walk into a gang of great OG jazz at Noble Records, so decided to save my money. And do not regret it even for a second. But I managed to get back to Noble Records, back to Lunchbox Records. It's still there. So, just grabbed a copy later. So, a lot of times, guys, with RSD, just be patient. You'll get it. No need to pay $100 off a scalper the next day. You'll get it. Just if you frequent record stores, you'll get it. Next up, Eric Dolphy in Europe, Volume 1. You guys, if you follow my channel long enough, you know my affinity for the great and legendary Eric Dolphy. I did an episode, I did a video just for Eric Dolphy way back. It feels like forever ago. In my opinion, one of the most talented musicians in the history of not just jazz, but music, period. And this one's great. Mono press, Trident label. It's great stuff. It's Eric Dolphy on flute and bass clarinet. Ben Axon on piano. Eric Mosaholm on bass. Chuck Israels on bass. And Jorn Elneth on drums. It's great stuff. I love Dolphy. Next up, one that I considered grabbing on RSD. Didn't, because I had a gang of original jazz waiting for me at Noble Records and decided to pass, but then went back to Lunchbox like a week and a half later and it's still there. Miles in Tokyo. No regrets. No regrets, if you will. Miles in Tokyo, live in concert. Have not heard it. I've heard some people say the pressing is great, and I've heard some people say the pressing isn't great, but isn't it that way with every release ever? It is. Let's just be real. It is. It's that way with everything. Yeah. Some people will say it sounds great. Some people will say it sounds bad, and you just have to decide which people you want to trust. For me, I decide to trust my people, my circle. I've got a circle of about 7 or 8 people that, if they say it's great, I take it as gospel, and then everybody else is like, let me check with these 7 or 8. Just gonna call it like I see it. Next up, Bud Shank, Shorty Rogers, with Jimmy Rouse, Harry Babison, and Roy Hart on Pacific Jazz Records, 1205. It's good stuff. Pacific Jazz. Bam. The flip side is Bud Shank, Bill Perkins, Hampton Halls, which is the one that drew me in. Red Mitchell, Mel Lewis. So, got an A-side, B-side kind of deal. B-side is my favorite because it's got Hampton Halls and Red Mitchell on it. But, very good stuff. Next up, okay, this one's going to be great for you. I'm going to have some fun with this one. Chet Baker, The Most Important Jazz Album of 1964/1965. That is literally the title of the album. First of all, there's disgusting shrink wrap on here. Disgusting. Spot out. Hurts so good. Come on, baby, it hurts so good. I know what a lot of you are thinking. Chris, didn't you do a video not too long ago where you kept the shrink wrap? Yeah, okay, so just so you guys know, I meant to document that. 20 minutes after the video was over, I ripped that shit apart. I meant to document it and post it on a future video and didn't. I just ripped it apart. I couldn't stand looking at it anymore. Anyway, so something major wrong with that. I mean, there's plenty of things major wrong with that. So many jazz albums came out in 1964 and 1965, but just to throw one out, A Love Supreme came out in 1965. Nobody knows what this is. Everybody knows what A Love Supreme is. So, sorry buddy, this is not the most important jazz album for 1964, 1965, but it is good. It is good enough for me to have in my collection, so, bam, add it to my collection. Bam, what were you smoking? But, I think it was actually physically released before Love Supreme, but so he hadn't. But anyway, even still, even if not for Love Supreme, it's still not the best album released in those 2 years. Next up on Riverside, Rex Stewart and the Ellingtonians, featuring Lawrence Brown and Barney Bigard. Stuff, again, Riverside, spread out, on mono. Good stuff. I'm going to be honest with you. I've never heard this. It was recommended to me by my boy Marcus, who sold me the album. Looking forward to it. He says I'll dig it. I'm sure I'll dig it. Looks like I'll dig it. Riverside, I mean, hey. Can't really lose, can you? So, we'll see. Next up, Junior Mance Trio, Happy Time. I'm feeling some disgusting shrink wrap. Bam. Bam. There you go. Now it looks like a record. Some hideous guys with a cigarette. Junior Mance on piano, Ron Carter on bass, Mickey Roker on drums. I already know this is a great album. It's on Jazzland. That's orange label, Jazzland. On mono press, of course. I'll give you guys a glance of the label here in a second. If I ever get right, blams by now. But, yeah. Next up, Art Farmer. Stereo press. Great stuff. Upfront Records, pink label, stereo press, great stuff. Next up, ignore the corny cover. It's Red Mitchell Quartet with James Clay, Lorraine Geller, and Billy Higgins. It's got a freaking bass with a cat on top of it if you look really close. So yeah, the cover is pretty freaking corny, and it's got shrink wrap, but I'm gonna deuces. No mas. Now it looks like an album, some contemporary. I know for a fact this is a good album. Corny cover aside, get it into your life. Next up, David Newman, House of David. All right, what's cool about this one? Splat out Atlantic white label promo biatches. Very cool, very awesome. Cool beans, awesome album. Highly recommended. Next up. Okay, so what is awesome about this one so much for me is I got this one for cheap. It's the complete Blue Note 45 sessions of Ike Quebec. It's a Mosaic box set. Okay, normally these Mosaic box sets go for insane $150 plus cash. It's got the booklet, it's got the whole nine. Normally. But this one, as you can see, it's got some damage on the front cover. Even though the box is intact. It's intact. You can read everything. Everything's Gucci. And some water, some damage on the back. Some water damage on the booklet. Some of the pages you can't pull apart. But you can pull most of them apart. See what I mean about some of them? Yeah. But all the LPs, VG plus, strong VG plus, which is what I really care about. And usually these things are $150, $200. Got this one, Lunchbox Records, $50. I tanto jumped on it. Let's just say that. And I'm very happy. Could not be happier with that one. These Mosaic box sets are, man, yeah. The value just keeps going on those things. Next up, Grant Green Solid. This is a Music Matters SRX, re-released, of course, in the 80s with a ugly ass, bland white cover, no good, terrible pressing. Re-released, proper treatment with this awesome cover of Grant himself. Joe Henderson on it, James Spaulding on it, Bob Cranshaw on it, McCoy Tyner on it, and Elvin Jones on it. Stereo press, awesome stuff. I mean, these SRX pressings, guys, man, they haul the mail. I just gotta be honest with you. It certainly blows that 80s pressing out of the water. I mean, I like to pretend that one doesn't exist now, so just hauls the mail. Next up, so this is funny. For those of you who followed me and myself and Noble Records, and if you saw Noble Records' last video, you already know what I'm getting ready to talk about. But if not, then hey. Original master recording, David Bowie, The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. Original master recording. Great stuff. LP's in great shape. This is the second time this has belonged to me. So it belonged to Dylan. I wanted it way back like 5 years ago. He sold it to me. I bought it. Loved it. Fell off of it for a while. Got deep into jazz. He grabbed a lot of awesome rare jazz that he wanted to trade to me or sell to me, whatever. I knew I was going to have to come with some heat. So I threw this in the stack, hoping I wouldn't need it, but thinking I probably would. Got there, it turned out I would need it for the trade, for the deal, and so had to say goodbye to it. Brought home some super rare jazz in the process, and then just put it out of my mind. And then as Dylan and I were working on the shop, working on opening up Noble Records brick and mortar, he throws on a just, regular U.S. pressing copy of this one. I fall in love with the album all over again because that's the first time I'd really heard it in a while. And I just looked at him. I said, man, I said, I love this. I said, I need another copy. I want my MoFi back. And he was like, hey, I'll get you another one. Like 2 days later, literally, a MoFi copy comes into the store via trade that's even cleaner than this one. He decides to keep it because it's cleaner. Calls me up and says, hey, you want your old MoFi back? Damn right. So this one has belonged to Dylan and myself 2 times each. Next up, Black Sabbath, Paranoid. On a normal day, probably wouldn't seem like that big of a one to save for towards the end of a video, except for take a look at that. No. What am I getting ready to do to you? Oh, shit. Oh, no, it's a vertigo. Oh, no, it's a vertigo. What am I doing to you? Awesome stuff. My goal is to have like all of like Sabbath's like first 5 or 6 albums. Vertigo. This is 3 for me. I've got the debut, I've got this one, and I've got 4. So working my way there, almost there. Man, it's beautiful. Next up, Adam's Apple, Wayne Shorter with Herbie Hancock, Reginald Workman, and Joe Chambers. It's an SRX press, and it is gorgeous. It is wonderful. It sounds phenomenal. Highly recommend it. Gentlemen that come to the shop at Noble Records traded in a bunch of these SRXs, Music Matters, and yada 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 yada. Traded in a bunch of them, and I had called dibs on several of them, and I couldn't afford that one at the time. Told Dylan, hey, if it's still there next week, I'll come back for it. When I came back, it was there. Ended up bringing it home. Just haven't had time to talk to you guys about it. It's a phenomenal reissue. So I'm down to the final 2. Now these 2 are the big dogs. I've been saving the big dogs for the end. Because this is a freaking 40-minute video. Because that's what your boy does. But I haven't kept you waiting for nothing. These are big dogs. So, first up, original mono pressing. The time is right. Lou Donaldson. Let me go ahead and break that. sexy, glossy cover out for you guys. Guys, this is big time. This is Major League. You don't see this often. This is Blue Mitchell on the trumpet, Lou Donaldson on the alto, Horace Parlan on the piano, Layman Jackson on the bass, Dave Bailey on the drums, and Ray Barretto on the conga. It is Blue Note 4025. It is Major League. Again, original mono pressing. It is great stuff. It is a $300 record minimum most of the time. Splat out. 47 West 63rd Street labels. Again, like I said, it's a freaking big deal. It's one of my big finds of the year. I'm hoping before the end of the year to do a top 20 finds of the year or something video. Don't be surprised if that one shows up, but don't be surprised if it doesn't, because it's been a great freaking year for your boy for finding records. Next up, Tom Waits. Tom Waits, The Amazing Bud Powell, Blue Note 1598, guys. As rare as that Donaldson was, I would wager this one's even more rare. I would wager. Look at that one, especially in this kind of shape. Guys, this is pristine, immaculate shape. This is Bud Powell on piano, Sam Jones on bass, Philly Joe Jones on the drums, trio setting. Sounds great, very loud for Blue Note. It's a great album to own, especially if you got a great system. Guys, wow, I gotta tell you, if you don't have it, if you never heard it, please look into it. I'd be remiss if I didn't. Oh man, wow. 47 West 63rd Street, New York City. Splat out. It is gorgeous. Man, this is definitely going to find its way into my, if I decide to do a top 20, I haven't decided. Top 10, top 20, I haven't decided. But I'm going to try to squeeze in one more video before the end of the year, which is rough for me because I have a tough time squeezing in a video a month for you guys. But I'm going to see what I can do. But if I do, this will be in it. Ain't no damn doubt about it. So great, so awesome. I've been waiting forever for it, and here it is. So, it sounds immaculate. So, anyway, all of that aside, all of my finds and whatnot aside, I know this has been a super long video. I'm sorry, you guys. It's a lot of shit I had to show you. All vinyl aside, all of music aside, all of that aside, I'm tired as hell. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I've been up since 6 o'clock this morning. I apologize. Love your families. Take your time with your family. If you don't have any kids, love your spouse, love your girlfriend, love your mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, because none of this lasts forever. None of this lasts forever at all. And all you have when it's all said and done is how you treated people and how they treated you and how people felt about you and how you felt about them at the end of the day. And for me, it's my daughter, my wife, my immediate family, my friends. And then to be honest with you, it's you guys. I mean, you're all awesome. I've met so many awesome and wonderful people through the vinyl community. And if you're watching, you're one of them. I'm just going to be honest with you. And so, you guys, I can't say this enough. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas. I hope you have a wonderful holiday. I hope you have a wonderful New Year. I hope you have somebody to hug, somebody to love, somebody to share a story with, somebody to share a laugh with, somebody to share a cup of coffee with, somebody to share a cold beer with, somebody to just be with. And I hope you have somebody to listen to a record with, whatever it is you guys get on. I hope you have somebody. And if you do, let that person know what it is they mean to you. Let them know what it is, how it is you feel about them. Just do it. We should all do it every day, but if no other time, do it on Christmas, goddammit. I'm just saying, just do it. So, I'm doing it. I've done it several times already. So, please, just do it. And I love you guys. I love every single one of you. I hope you all have a blessed Christmas. I really do. A blessed New Year. And if I don't see you before the New Year, then Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from your boy Chris, from the Man Cave. And until next time, until next video, keep dropping that new, you guys.